branding breakdown, positioning framework, qualified ICP, and pricing structure. In today's video, I'm going to expose the fastest way to start and grow your info business with organic marketing. Because the truth is, a lot of people think they need to grow an audience, have an audience, build up a following, or build up their course and delivery first in order to monetize their skill. But the opposite is actually true, because there are people right now in your audience that are willing to pay 5 figures to be taught the skill you already have. And you don't need any of those things in order to start and scale your info business. For instance, take a look at 2 of my students. Actually, these are people that started less than a month ago, and within their first week, you can already see that one of my students hit a 7.5K deal, and then another 3 students and 10K cash collected. That's 17.5K euros that was collected within the first week of starting together. And the second is 3.5K and 15 cash collected in the first 2 weeks of working together. So that's another 5.3K euros that's collected within the first week. And as you can see here, they didn't have a massive audience. Some have only like a really small audience, and they didn't have a big audience and something to say before they started monetizing. Because the thing is, there's a very secret and fast way to start and scale your info business, which I will be explaining in this very video. So let's dive in. Now, first of all, I want to start off with the branding breakdown, because you need to understand what actually triggers and what actually happens in the viewer's mind in order to convert into a buyer. And the thing is that if people look at your page right now, they don't trust you, they don't have a connection with you, and they don't have respect for you. And of course they don't trust you, because they don't even know you. You're a complete stranger, and let's be honest, you never bought something from a stranger, right? Now imagine that feeling times 100, because you expect them to pay you 5 figures on a call where they met you for the first time. Of course they don't trust you, right? That's the whole point. And that's because you need to understand that your profile is your content ecosystem. And within that ecosystem, you want to trigger the right emotions, because these emotions will eventually help people to make a decision to buy from you. Not from someone else, not from some guru, but from you. They will pay you 5 figures when you trigger these emotions in your content ecosystem. So let's dive into what these emotions actually are. The first one being authority. Now you need to understand that 9 times out of 10, you're making content for a younger version of yourself. What that means is you have gotten through a certain transformation. You went from A to B, for instance, with personal training or ecom coaching or high ticket sales. Now you need to be able to sell that skill, but for that skill to be sellable and monetizable, you need to have that transformation yourself. So if you haven't had that transformation yourself, or did not achieve that goal with the skill you're actually monetizing, you will never get people to buy from you, because you need to show that you've got a certain authority over people because of a certain and specific topic, which is your own transformation, right? So you need to show the authority that you have over this certain topic. The second is likability. The thing is, people will buy from people, and they will never buy from someone that they don't like. So you need to show your true colors within your content. If you don't show your personality, you will eventually fade away into a black market of people who are just spitting value and creating cool edits, because those videos will never create personality and connection. The only way they choose you instead of someone else or some guru is because they feel a connection with you, they relate to you or your story or your method. You need to understand that. So for that to happen, you need to understand that you need to show that within your content. Otherwise, they will never find out what your story actually is. So they can never build a connection with you because you never showed it. And the last one is trust. The thing is, with trust, you need to understand that if I don't 100% trust you, I will never buy from you, especially online, especially with selling courses or coachings up to 5 figures. Now, how do you actually create trust? The thing is, you can create trust by showing client results, client transformations, or testimonials. What you want to do is show you took people in a similar situation as your viewer, potential buyers, from a specific pain point to a desired outcome, from A to B. You help them cross the bridge that other people want to cross themselves. If you show that you have helped achieve people do the same thing that you are authority over, you will create trust. And that's basically the balance of these 2 things. Because the thing is, if you miss one, you leave a gap, and in that gap, no conversion happens, and you miss out on conversion and potential buyers, right? So for instance, if you only have authority and trust, you create the following situation. They see you have the lifestyle and have the proof, but without the unique mechanism or the connection, you're just another company or you're just another guru, right? Because you lack likability and connection. Now, if you have authority and likability, then they know you're a serious player and you stand out with a unique approach, but they doubt if this will work for their business or their situation. So you're basically lacking the one thing that they need is trust, right? You need to show that you can help them achieve the same thing because you've done it with someone else in their similar situation. And the third is when you only have trust and likability, they know you can fulfill and are intrigued by your method, but they have no real respect for you because you don't show authority when authority is needed. When people don't have respect for you, they don't look up to you, so they never pay 5 figures because they think you're at the same level as them or not as high above as you might think. Because let's look at a situation. If you were to ask for health and fitness advice, you would ask a fit person, right? Or a bodybuilder. You wouldn't ask someone who has a belly and goes to McDonald's every day because they don't have authority, even though they helped someone else go from A to B. You will never have the real respect for them because they're teaching something that they don't even have themselves, right? So you never get advice from that person. You will never ask advice from that person. And most certainly, you will never buy from that person because they don't simply have your respect. And then when you hit all three, then you get the following situation. They respect your work, they believe in your method, and they know you can fulfill. And that's the desired situation for all of you guys. So how do you actually convert this all into your content? Now, of course, you have top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom of funnel content pieces, right? At the top of the funnel, getting awareness is your main priority. You can expect people to trust you when they've never seen your face before. This is very broad and viral content, so people feel intrigued to learn more about you, your method, or your lifestyle. Show them what makes you stand out or unique in any type of way. Tell them stories about your personal business or give them new insights in subjects you have authority in. See how all three emotions get triggered within a top of funnel content piece because that's really important. Now, how would you actually convert this into content pieces, right? For instance, when showing authority, you can create your own experiences, show the lifestyle, or maybe podcasts, for instance, where you share some insights in your personal story or your growth or your transformation, where you show your personal growth and transformation, for instance, to gain authority. Now, the content formats you need to produce in order to get the top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom of funnel conversion, you need to start with IG Reels, for instance. So on a platform like IG or TikTok for B2C, TikTok is a very high engaging market as of now on both B2C and B2B markets, especially B2C. Then you can convert them with long form YouTube videos. So that's basically value or vlogs. So get them in your sort of rabbit hole and get them to have more watch time on your content. Basically just the ability to nurture themselves further in your ecosystem, right? And then lastly, what I see most of the time that creates the most conversion is either YouTube videos or stories. So stories on IG, and you can have multiple, for instance, results-based, value-based, and story-based, right? And those three will create the most conversion, like immediate conversion in the bottom of the funnel. But you need to understand that they won't get immediately through the bottom of the funnel, right? They go through your TikTok or IG first, then your YouTube, they watch a video, then they go back to your Instagram, then they go back through another YouTube video, maybe watch another YouTube video, then they go back to your Instagram, watch a couple stories, then go back. So it's a constant dynamic process, right? They don't go through your funnel in a linear way, as many people might think. They go back and forth, middle funnel, top of funnel. They go to middle funnel, watch a YouTube video, then they leave the funnel actually, then they go back into the top of funnel, then they go through it, then they follow you, then they see your stories, etc., etc. You get the point, right? And so the thing is that they won't go through your funnel in a linear way. So you need to constantly produce all three of those. You don't think, oh, I'm going to post top of the funnel for 2 weeks, then middle funnel for 2 weeks, and then bottom of funnel for 2 weeks. No, you need to constantly post a lot of it at the same time. Now, what I also understand is that people have a lot of struggle with the ideation of content, right? How do you actually position yourself in the market so you actually stand out and make people buy from you instead of anyone else? You need to see that this whole market and 99% of the market is the same type of people saying the same shit. So from a buyer's perspective, these are viewed as the same people. They don't see any difference between you and your competitors because of course you can have a different offer and think you can position yourself in a different way, but in the end, because you're not targeting the right people at the right time, you still sound like your competitors. And that's the worst thing for any personal brand or info coach, because there's so much demand and there's so much supply, yet there are only a small percentage of people actually converting, and they outmaster and outskill basically 80% of the market. So it's an 80-20, maybe even more, 90-10 on people who are actually successful in info coaching and people who are just like their competitors and struggling. So how do you actually stand out? How do you reverse this pattern in order to stand out in a market of people just saying the same shit? Because the thing is, when you stand out and you have a unique approach, and not only have a unique approach, but also know how to truly market and frame your unique approach with organic marketing is where you actually successfully stand out. But it's difficult. I understand you. It's difficult because you're using the same hooks, you're using the same formats, you're using the same trends, you're hopping on the same trends, and your strategy is going from A to B to C, back to A, back to B. You're doing a lot of shit at the same time. And that's never good for growth because you need to choose something and actually stick with it. But of course, that's extremely difficult, right? And I understand you as well. But what if I told you there's a specific way in order to stand out in a way with so much leverage that people could never copy that format piece or that content from you? There's no one on earth that can copy that from you. So you're truly a category of one. And the thing is, it's actually easier than you think. Because when you think about it, what's one thing, one content piece or one content type that someone could never copy from you? It's you. It's your personal story. It's your transformation. It's your struggles. It's your growth. Basically, your whole journey from A to B, right? So you need to understand that people will buy from people that they like and they have a connection with. That's the likability emotion that you need to trigger. And the funny thing is that once you understand how this truly works, it's a content piece and it's a way of positioning that no one else could copy from you. And it's basically the strategy I use with all of my clients, and I have them fill out this specific doc, and I want to show you this because this is actually extremely valuable for you if you are in this certain situation. So basically what this doc is, it's a document with 31 questions about your personal life. So for instance, tell me about the moment in your life that completely changed your direction, the before and the after. Or another question, for instance, what have you built, launched, or created, even if it didn't go as planned? What is something you know that most people will pay to learn? But not only your personal stories and things you got through, but also things you're truly passionate about. And the thing is, when you talk about something you're truly passionate about, you talk with energy, and that energy is actually really contagious. So when you make videos about something you're truly passionate about, your energy is really transferred into that content piece. And when people view that content piece, they feel your energy. And that is what creates the likability and connection part. So you need to actually find the things, not only your personal story and how you can create content based on your personal story, but also things you are truly passionate about, because those are the things that will create the personality needed in order to have a connection with your buyers and your potential buyers and your viewers, right? Now, as you can see, these are questions based on every single thing needed in order to position yourself in a truly unique way with your content. And you can get this doc actually if you comment monetize it down below in the comments, or just shoot me a DM and you'll get this doc completely for free. So you can start monetizing and actually find your true positioning and your true passion within your content. Now, the second document I want to talk about is the market research doc, because you need to understand that this is basically what I look at when I create a strategy for my customers, right? Let me show you. So there's two things here. You have the person. So that's basically this doc right here. So you have the person, and then you have the market, right? So this is all the people. Let me do this in a fast way. So this is all the people, all your competitors, and your potential buyers. So this is basically all of your potential buyers and all of your viewers and etc. etc. So basically the market, right? So you need to understand that, okay, now you have a clear picture of your personal story and your struggles and how you can create yourself as a category of one. But of course, I'm truly passionate about a lot of things, but not everything is worth mentioning in my content, because people 9 times out of 10, they don't give a fuck. They don't really care about your story and they don't need a lot of that information. So you need to understand that there's a balance. Don't go balls deep into your personal story and struggles. You need to understand that there's also a very specific need for the customer, for the market. So there's a balance between what the market wants from you and what you want to share for the market, what you are able to share, valuable shit you can share for that market. So there's a balance where basically what I call product market fit. So that's 3 words that's really important when I create strategies for my customers. You need to understand that you have you as the product, the market, where's the demand, right? And you have a product market fit where the balance is perfectly balanced between what you have to offer and what the market actually wants. Understand, right? Is that clear? Because a lot of people just either just copy the same formats from people that they follow, so they don't have the product needed, right? They don't have a unique product. And the other part is people just create content that is truly unique for them, but a lot of people in the market don't care. And of course, you can create a new trend with truly having something you're passionate about, but I told in this video, this needs to be a fast way to convert and grow your info business. So there's a balance between what you're truly passionate about and what the market actually wants to see and hear from you. And when you balance those two perfectly is where you have product market fit. And you'll see that in that perfect balance is where people actually buy from you because they trust, like, and respect you. So to go deeper into the actual market and to understand your audience better, you need to go into something I call a qualified ICP. And of course, everyone knows what an ICP is. If you don't, it's an ideal customer profile. What does that mean? It's the specific customer, your ideal customer that you would want to help, and that profile based around it. So what kind of person is that? Where do they hang around? What age, what nationality, what types of people are they? What pain points do they have? So you can make contents for those specific pain points. That's basically what your ICP is. And a lot of people just focus on their ICP, right? But the thing is, your ICP has specific awareness stages, and we'll get into that a little bit later. And like I said, your whole audience exists on a spectrum. And this is the spectrum. Don't mind my drawing skills, but this is the spectrum actually. Like I said, on a spectrum, right? You have the not sold, the swing voters, and the already sold demographic. Now, first of all, the not sold demographic is not even your ICP, right? So this is not even your ICP. Your ICP is basically these people right here. So you should not even be focusing on the not sold demographic, right? These are the people that when they see your product or when they see your marketing videos or your organic content or your profile, they are immediately not intrigued or not interested. And that's okay because you are not trying to sell anything to anyone. You are trying to sell a specific thing for a specific person. For instance, a good example, if I were to sell dresses or skirts, I would not sell anything to anyone. Of course, there are a very small percentage of men who wear skirts and dresses, but 99.9% of men don't wear dresses and skirts, so I won't be targeting any men. That's the not sold demographic where I was talking about right here. But there are women or a specific type of woman that would buy dresses or skirts, and that's the ICP. Now there's a qualified ICP, which I'll be going into right now. And it has to do something with the awareness stages. Of course, you have the swing voters, right? So the swing voters are the people who might be interested in buying your product. They are intrigued, they have interest, but there's a lot of doubt. A lot of doubt about a product, a lot of doubt about if it works for them, or they've heard it just a couple times and don't even know what it actually is. Those are the swing voters, and they actually take up the most part of your audience. And the truth is that you can focus on your swing voters, but the sales cycle is extremely long because not only do you have to see and sell the product itself, you have to do all that bullshit nurturing of people. Oh, this is the product. Jenny wore the product and it got her this result. Oh, this is how the product works. You have to do so much nurturing in order to get people even interested or in the door, let alone buy from you and convert into people who will pay you money for that product. So the thing is, you can focus on swing voters, but like I said, this is a video on how to grow your info business fast. So what I want to do is focus on a qualified ICP, which is the already sold demographic of your audience. And now, how would this look like in practice? So these are the people who might have bought a similar product, might have bought a coaching before, might have had a mentorship before, might have bought a course before. They know the product works, so they trust the product, they know the product, and know the product can take them from A to B, but somehow they're still in doubt. Somehow they might have bought something, but still struggling. They're not yet crossed the bridge. They're not on the B, the desired outcome. They're still on the people with the swing voters. They still have the same goal as the swing voters, but they're way more aware of the product, right? They have way more pain as well because they are already sold. They've been sold in the past on that product, but it might not even have worked out. And so they're still looking, they still have the pain, they still have the desired outcome, but instead of the swing voters, they actually know the product, they trust the product, but still want to have something or someone who can actually fulfill on the product. And for those people, you are going to create content because not only is it easier for them to convert, but you'll see that you'll grow faster and way more easily selling to these people. So let's go a little deeper, and I'm going to put this right here. I put the mic right here because I'm going to actually share you the in real examples of how I would do this for specific niches, right? So as you can see here, to go even deeper on what we just discussed, you have your ICP, right? Which is the people who are maybe unaware, problem aware, so they might have a problem, they have a backache or a headache and they don't know what to do, or they see a product that might help them, but they're still in doubt or whatever. And they have the qualified ICP, which is the people who are, as you can see, solution aware until most aware, right? So they see a similar solution, they know what solution they need, they've product aware or most aware. They might have crossed all of these and gotten into the buyer stage, so they converted into a buy, as you can see here, into a buy, but they still don't have the desired outcome. So they go back to right here, to solution aware. So they find a similar product and try again. So like I said, they still have the pain, they still have the desired outcome that they want, the dream or the goal that they want, but still haven't achieved, but they're in more pain and more aware. So easier to sell to. There's this really short sales cycle if you were to compare them to your normal ICP, right? So I'm going to give you 3 practical examples for 3 specific niches. So first of all, personal trainers. Now you have the ICP compared to the qualified ICP. The marketing message would look something like lose weight in 60 days. Let's say lose 10 kilos in 60 days without changing your lifestyle, right? So that's one. Now the qualified ICP would look something like you're already in the gym, taking supplements, maybe even hired a personal trainer, but it's still not working out, right? See the difference? There's way more pain in the qualified ICP compared to the normal ICP. This is just focused on the desired outcome. But the thing is, there's 100,000 ways to lose 10 kilos in 60 days, right? So there's nothing really special about it, and it doesn't really hit the audience as well as the qualified ICP because they're already in the gym. They've taken supplements, they've hired a personal trainer, they've taken all these steps, but it's still not working out. Do you know how much pain they actually feel? And of course, the qualified ICP could still be in a similar situation as the ICP, right? They want to lose 10 kilos in 60 days. The goal remains the same, but the situation is way more tense. They're way more aware. So they actually know, they trust the gym because they're already in the gym. They've taken supplements, so they know the product works. Their message is, their way of going from A to B is going to the gym, eating healthy, taking supplements, and maybe even hiring a personal trainer. So if you've done all of those things and it's still not working out, then we have a similar or a XYZ product, right? So that's where you offer the product. Now, for instance, for high-ticket sales coaches. Now you can see, for instance here, the ICP is focused on you're in a 9 to 5 or students who want to make money while traveling the world, right? So this is basically the normal ICP, right? This is the swing voters, as you can see here. So this is the whole market, right? They want the same exact outcome as the qualified ICP, but qualified ICP would look something like you're already in sales, door to door or account management. So why not do sales with a business model selling high ticket and 100% online? So the goal is the same. Make money while traveling the world, so make money online and sell high ticket. So the qualified ICP is way different here because they're already in door-to-door sales, for instance, or account management. So like I said here, they already trust the product and know they chose sales already. So the solution for them to go travel the world or get rich or make money is already sales, right? So they're already really solution and product aware, but they're still not making the money that they want. So they still have pain in some type of way. So what they do is, why not do sales with a business model selling high ticket, so earning more and 100% online, aka traveling the world. So like I said, it's the same outcome as the normal ICP, but they have way more pain points, right? So they're way deeper in the awareness stage, so way easier to target. Now, if you were to come across someone like that and they exactly told you what I've just told you, for instance, all right, you're in door-to-door sales or account management, for instance, but you're making no money on door-to-door sales or account management, you're in the office from 9 to 5 or whatever. So why not do sales, but with a way more favorable business model, selling high ticket, so earning more and 100% online, so traveling the world wherever you want, right? And for instance, the third one is the traders. So the traders might have the following: want to make money online and travel the world while working 5 hours a day. No, I think traders are way more lazy. 2 hours a day, because when you make 2 trades, basically you could be 2,000 euros up for the day, so you make 2K every day, wow, wow, wow. Okay, so that's the normal ICP, right? And the qualified ICP would be something like you already invest and look at the stock market all day? Why not invest in a way to make this your full-time job, right? Understand, see the difference now, because with the ICP, you are targeting people who are way more invested. So they're way more aware of the product and the solution they already chose. So they have the same outcome, the same goals, right? They want to work 2 hours a day, travel the world, make more money. So they're already next to their 9 to 5 or their student loans or whatever. They're already trading and investing in the stock market. So they're already really invested in making this work in this particular product. Because the thing is, if they want the same goal like the normal ICP, why not do e-com coaching? Why not do personal training and sell coaching online, right? Why trading? So they already chose the product that fits their needs and their interest and their passion best. So you can target those people and sell them way more easily because they're really deep in the awareness stages and really understand the product. They chose that vehicle to take them from A to B. So they are really invested, and you can take part of that with targeting qualified ICP pain points, right? Understand? I hope this is clear for everyone. If this is not clear for everyone, please just send me a message so I can really explain to you how this works. This is really the golden nugget on this video, because this is truly how you go from zero to your first 10K, 50K in the very first months or weeks even, because you understand how to target your qualified ICP instead of your normal ICP. Now the last phase I wanted to discuss, now you know how to target your qualified ICP, and you know what pain points they have, and you know what marketing messages you need to actually make in order to convert them into buyers. You need to actually sell them something, right? And you do this with the pricing structure. Now the pricing structure is specifically based on the done with you consulting model, as you can see here. So done with you instead of done for you. The difference is, for people who don't know, done for you is, I always tell people who don't know the difference, you don't have to do any work. We're going to set this system up. We do it completely for you. That's done for you, basically. Now done with you is not selling the system itself, so not selling the infrastructure or not selling the deliverables in a done-for-you base, but on a skills and knowledge base. So instead of selling you the system and selling you the mechanism and selling you the funnel, I'm going to teach you how to do it yourself. So you're going to understand how marketing works, how organic marketing works. For traders, for instance, you're going to understand how to trade yourself, understand the market, stock market, what strategies you can use, and you're going to learn the strategies from me in different models, and you can make money using the skills and knowledge I teach you, right? So that's way more valuable, and there's way more leverage in that than with a done for you model. Now there are 4 ways to make money during a done with you model. So there are 4 ways to make money with a done with you model. The first one being a course. Now the course is just basically you sell the information, truly pure information. You record everything, you put it in a course like WAP or School or Circle or whatever, and you get video training sales courses on how to do the skills and knowledge yourself. So that's number 1. The thing is, you can charge $500 to $1,500 for a course, depending on the amount of information that's actually on there and your authority, of course. But what I see now with AI, courses are, of course, a lot of leverage, and it's easy to make and it's really easy to do. But people don't buy courses. They're really skeptic of courses, especially now with AI. The information itself is really not that important, right? You'll see actually now that there's a lot of people who give their courses away for free, completely for free. So they give the information itself for free, and then they sell the implementation of the skills and knowledge in the following upsells. So that's group or one-on-one coaching, like I said here, right? So the group coaching is basically one-to-many coaching. You need, of course, a group in order to do group coaching, and you can charge $2,500 to $3,500 per group coaching. So if I were to sell you on a group coaching, you find the one-on-one coaching too expensive, for instance, you can do group coaching. For instance, a group of 15 people, you do a meeting with them once every week, you tell them some information and implementation, or you show them something, and that's a group coaching. Now, of course, you need a group in order to group coaching. So if you have 2 students, that's not really group coaching, it's basically 2 one-on-one coachings. They can ask you questions in the group coaching and whatever the fuck. So that's basically what group coaching is. Now there's a very specific one, which is one-on-one coaching, which is the most valuable thing for most people. Now there are 2 differences that I want to share. This is another golden nugget that I really want you to understand. So I see a lot of people struggling with pricing on this. For instance, a lot of people want the one-on-one coaching, but they find the price too expensive, right? So basically, I see a lot of people doing 2 one-on-one coaching offers. They have the pricier model and then the little less expensive model, so the cheaper model. So if you don't want to invest 5 figures, you can do a little cheaper model. That's the only thing you can do with a cheaper one-on-one coaching. That's the only goal behind it. So how do you change your deliverables? Because of course you can do the same thing with the more expensive model than with the cheaper model. You have to change something, otherwise the offer is the same, and a lot of people would just do the cheaper model because there's no difference, right? But then again, vice versa, what's the difference between the more expensive model and the cheaper model? If you change your deliverables too much, they don't see the value of paying $5,000-$6,000 more to get the more expensive model. So how do you change your deliverables in order to get people to actually buy the more expensive model if you want, but don't see a change in perceived value and how people perceive your offers? Now, the only thing that changes, and I gave away the answer immediately, is to change the time period of the coaching. So 3 months and 6 months. That way, nothing changes about the deliverables, only about the time span you get access to those deliverables. See how that works? So you don't have to change anything in the way you teach, how many calls they get, for instance, or what information and knowledge they actually achieve. The only thing you change is the time span of the coaching itself. And that way you get to keep your perceived value because people see the same value, it's the same exact deliverables, but just the access is 3 months shorter. So you can charge $4,000 to $6,000 easily for a 3-month one-on-one coaching and $8,000 to $12,000 for a 6-month one-on-one coaching. Understand? And then on the back of that, you can upsell them on done for you infrastructure. So for instance, systems or funnels or sales coaching or whatever the fuck, right? Now, if you were to compare the leverage and the LTV for both, so for all 4 offers, you would see that, like I said, for a course is really high leverage, but the LTV is really low because, like I said, you can do a course for $500 to $1,500, but people don't really see the value of it. They think it's pricey, but for just the knowledge itself, it's not really a smart decision to make for someone. So they need the implementation. They want your help one-on-one or in a group coaching. So you'll see that your LTV here, the leverage of course for a course is really high because you make it once and you can sell it infinite amount of times because so the leverage is literally infinite. The group coaching is a little more difficult. So as you can see here, the group coaching is a little less leverage, but more LTV, so the lifetime value. Then the one-on-one coaching, 3 months and 6 months, the only thing that changes is the LTV. Of course, leverage can change a little bit because the length of the coaching is of course a little longer, but that doesn't matter. The leverage is still the same because deliverables are still the same because people do one-on-one calls with you and you basically teach them how to do it themselves. And that's basically how the one-on-one coaching model works. And so guys, this is basically all you need to know in order to start your info business and start earning your first real results fast. Like for instance, my 2 clients who already got these results in the very first weeks of working with me. And that's because I know how this works. I've seen every info business from the inside and out. I've seen every funnel, VSL funnels, organic marketing, ad spends of $100,000 a month and ad spends of 0 with crazy amounts of revenue. So basically, if you have any questions, you can shoot me a DM on Instagram or just comment below. Also, you can book a call in the description and I will hop on a call with you so you can actually share with me your current bottleneck. I will fix that bottleneck on the call and then you'll see my value and we can discuss a collaboration with each other. So if you have any questions, let me know and I'll see you in the next video.